The Dead Space Remake just launched the other day and it is sublime. This is easily one of the best, if not the best remake in recent years, to the point I will confidently say I think it's better than the Resident Evil remakes. And if we really want to set the bar low, it's better than the Last of Us remake. In my humble opinion, I do not see any reason as to why someone would want to play the original unless they had a potato computer. This is the definitive version of Dead Space, and yet people are of course finding ways to spark outrage over it. How, you might ask? It's supposedly woke.
What am I doing with my life?
Quite frankly, if there was one person who everyone knew would attempt to claim Dead Space's remake was woke, it was the undeniably mentally ill individual known as SyntheticMan. A man so hilariously unhinged with his far-right antics regarding literally any game ever, that he single-handedly caused the blowing up of another channel to over 100,000 subscribers over his god-awful God of War Ragnarok takes.
Everyone is all you motherfuckers are as fuck. And I want to use more harsh words than that, but I'm not allowed to. So I'll just say that.
I was talking about every aspect of this game's story, the excellent character development woven into the narrative.
No. Excellent character development. This guy, oh my, Drinker is such a piece of shit. Holy, I'm hating this guy more by the second. Oh my god. Oh, the shilling. I can't take it. Show the scripts. The fucking show your fucking contract, whatever you signed, who's paying you, you fuck.
Now I would love to describe how unhinged his Dead Space take was, but it genuinely is not possible to quantify. I have never heard a more unhinged yet fairly short rant of which screams, "Pretty please put me in a goddamn psych ward." So since I can't do the clip justice, I'll just let the video play.
Got in the stream, how's the game? It's the same game. They tweaked a lot of combat elements. They added a lot of woke shit that normies are gonna ignore because it's not shoved in your face constantly, but it's not subtle either. Let's be real, it's not subtle either.
What supposed woke shit is seen in the Dead Space remake, I hear you ask? Gender neutral bathrooms.
No! It can't be! No! No!
I'm not kidding, that's what he's angry about. Because that's totally woke and not just something done on actual fucking ships for well over a decade, due to the fact that it quite literally makes no sense to have separated bathrooms thanks to the wasted resources. Dead Space is not meant to be this super far out idea that no one can comprehend as being real. The entire horror of the series relies solely on its reflection of human beings and the world around us, so of course it's going to mimic real life. That isn't being woke, that's being accurate to the series.
It's just, everyone has been brainwashed. We have to accept that we're in the minority now. We absolutely are. Because dumb people can very easily be fed subliminal propaganda constantly and never even notice. As long as you're just not telling them explicitly, we want to replace you, we wish you were all dead, thanks for your money though.
I mean, Jesus Christ. I have never heard something more delusional and downright pathetic. It is not hard to interpolate what group of people he's referring to here, and it's straight white men. Bear in mind, the only character in the remake who looks more attractive than they originally did is Adam Sandler. No one else in the game was made to be more attractive, only the white straight male. And I want to make it abundantly clear, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, because it isn't. In fact, it's a great thing that Isaac Clarke is the most attractive person in the group, because he needs to be in order for Dead Space 2's remake that's inevitably going to happen at this point to hit as hard as the original did. The only reason as to why I bring up the fact that it's a straight white male getting glamoured up compared to the rest of the cast is because it disproves this bullshit extremist narrative from SyntheticMan. If you're trying to push his quite frankly mentally ill ideology onto people, this is the worst game to fucking do it with. I'm not even going to say this as an insult, but SyntheticMan, you seriously need a therapist if you unironically think that the Dead Space remake is woke propaganda trying to replace straight white men. Because I have never heard a more mentally unstable sentence in my fucking life. And this type of extremist rhetoric is way too common in your content. There is quite literally nothing woke about the Dead Space remake. It is nothing more than mentally unstable and lifeless individuals forcing themselves to get angry over literally anything. And don't worry guys, if you thought SyntheticMan was the only delusional individual covering this topic, you're wrong. Because the hatred I've seen towards Nicole in this game is downright disgusting and absolutely mind-boggling. The perfect example of which is this guy's video getting mad that she doesn't look like a fucking supermodel.
I wish I could just talk someone.
Man, Nicole's so cute. I can totally see why Isaac would risk his life to go save her. I can't wait to see what she looks like in the remake.
What the hell? Oh my god, no way, yeah.
Oh well, at least there was Kendra, right? She was pretty cute.
Catching up to do.
So good then. Guess you really miss her.
In fairness to this guy, he does make it fairly apparent as to why he actually doesn't like the remake. His little Kuma brain can't jerk off to the characters in a horror game anymore. I mean, there is nothing more tragic than that. But in all seriousness, his hyperfixation on the sexualization of the women in the original Dead Space remake is frankly incredibly disturbing. These people are unironically angry over the fact that the character models are more realistic to real people. Again, something integral to the entire franchise. If you want to jerk off to pixels on the screen, do not play a horror game. Go watch porn, my guy. Them quote-unquote aging her up is not a bad thing at all. Why is it that we can't have both young and older romantic stories within video games? In your eyes, I guarantee you can't come up with any other reason than you can't jerk off to her.
Well, surely they at least got Isaac's character model right. I mean, surely they wouldn't mess that up, right?
I do just adore how everyone who complains about the look of Isaac in the remake always uses an image from Dead Space 2, where the only reason as to why he looks so tired and depressed is because he went through the events of the first game and then got non-stop tormented by a marker pretending to be his dead girlfriend Nicole. There is undeniably zero reason for Isaac to look any differently than he does in the remake. After all, it is merely a capture of the voice actor's face, just like every other character in the game. Also, let's not forget the fact that Nicole in Dead Space 2 looks a lot more similar to the remake's version of Nicole compared to Dead Space 1, even though they're only 3 years apart. At worst, all the remake is doing is bringing it more in line with the other games, as repeatedly proven. Just look at Isaac's character model between Dead Space 1 and 2.
So, starting with the visuals, as you can see in the intro, they've changed the models for the characters drastically, and not in a good way. Can someone tell me why every game nowadays is completely allergic to attractive women? It also makes no sense. Why did they feel the need to age Nicole by 30 years? There are a lot of people out there saying that Nicole was 39 in the original game, and that's why she looks this way. But okay, sure, let's say she's 39. Let's take a look at a 39-year-old woman. This is Jennifer Aniston in the 2008 movie Marley and Me. Now, Jennifer Aniston was born in 1969, and Marley and Me came out in 2008. So let's do some quick maths here. She was 39. Now, do these women look anything alike? I would say not really. Jennifer Aniston still looks pretty attractive in my opinion, whereas Nicole looks like someone's grandma.
Please, touch some grass.
Oh, does your potentially 39-year-old female character in the video game not look like a goddamn fucking supermodel level woman, but instead looks like an actual 39-year-old woman? Well then, she's clearly woke trash and not real. What do you mean my Kuma perception of reality is not real? Of course it is! Only Jennifer Aniston levels of attractive 39-year-old women should exist in my action horror third-person shooter. The only way for this brain-dead logic to work is to completely ignore the fact that Jennifer Aniston is renowned for being way more attractive than the average 39-year-old woman, which is the reason as to why I'm referring to this guy as nothing more than a Kuma angry he can't jerk off to a video game. He unironically thinks that Jennifer Aniston is a realistic metric of how attractive a 39-year-old woman should be on average. The Dead Space remake does nothing more than give every single one of his characters realistic representations, and make sure to keep the game as grounded as possible. That is nothing but a positive thing if you are actually a fan of Dead Dead Space. Not to mention the fact that Nicole's age is actually never mentioned in any of the video games specifically. Nothing here has been altered as to offend people or to push some woke western agenda like this guy is trying to claim. They are literally just the faces of the voice actors. Nothing more, nothing less. And even if these characters are supposedly aged up, not a single soul can give a legitimate explanation as to why that's a bad thing. There is no reason as to why we can't have older and younger romantic stories within video games. However, in fairness to the guy, the rest of his video isn't really on the same topic, and so we're going to move on here to Twitter.
No, 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 no. Wait. Wait.
Fuck you if you buy the new Dead Space remake, especially when the original is still available. This is the lamest generation in history. Why? The whole game is M for mature. You buy this game knowing it's a horror game. Why is there a content warning? Why it's a horror game? Why do I'm tired? I'm so tired. Trigger warnings are the stupidest shit ever in a horror game. You know what the fuck you're getting into. It's a horror game. No one expects a shoujo romance to warn you anytime two characters are gonna kiss. Apparently you can also blur the scares, lol. Why you play this then? I do wonder how pointless your life must be and how little problems you must have in your life to unironically tell people to not buy a video game because it features optional and off by default trigger warning settings, of which could be very helpful for people with PTSD who really want to play this game, whilst helping themselves overcome the disorder they're suffering from. In no world does this affect you, and in no world should you be bothered by this. These are optional and off by default settings that in no way, shape or form impact you as a player, because guess what? They're optional. And I sure as hell am not going to spend my time explaining what optional means. Ordered this on Steam, installed it, and now straight to refund. Dead Space Remake is woke garbage, but consumers still gonna consume and defend all this. It's amazing to me how many people didn't realize that the original Dead Space was not at all pro-capitalism in literally any way, shape or form. How on earth you potentially play through all three games and still not get the hint that the game isn't particularly pro-capitalism is truly beyond me. It takes a certain kind of stupidity that even Sony ponies don't show often. I'm not one to call everything woke, but I find it real funny that in the first 5 minutes of Dead Space Remake, Daniels tells us she's lesbian with dialogue that wasn't there in the first game. In fact, I'm 99% sure her sexual preference was never mentioned in the first game. Without this guy's describing the scene, you'd think it was repeatedly and non-stop shoved in your face throughout the entire game, but it isn't. It is a single line that honestly does not get noticed unless you're deeply homophobic and are looking for things to get mad at. It was nothing more than a split-second and perfectly normal passing remark about one's relationship during a conversation.
Nicole?
Yeah. First deferred from her in weeks.
We're 5 minutes out. You still got that thing on repeat? Guess you really miss her.
Fishermer is not a job you turn down, but 6 months apart with only vid calls? It's rough. Easy to say the wrong thing.
I don't blame you. I'd listen to my girlfriend over Hammond reciting security protocols.
Although the scariest part of this situation is the fact there were people agreeing with SyntheticMan. This man's clown stock is through the roof. No, he's right, he messed up though. You're only allowed to bring up white people being replaced if you're celebrating it as a good thing. In all honesty, if it wasn't for the insanely cringy and downright terrible far-right memes being made about the game in regards to Johnson being replaced by a black woman and more black people being featured in the Ishimara propaganda, I'd have no idea what the fuck this person was talking about. Because who cares? Johnson was replaced by a black woman who, yes, survives the initial attack, but she also dies within the first 10 minutes of the fucking game anyway. And it's not like Johnson ever played an even slightly large role in the game. It's literally a side character no one cared about. And furthermore, getting mad about those posters makes no sense. Why is it a problem that there's more black people in the posters now? And why do you care when a remake remakes a game featuring slightly different side characters? And posters. I still can't get over the fact people are actually mad about posters featuring more black people. I can't fathom there being any other reason but racism behind those complaints. Now in complete honesty, I don't particularly want to go through the Steam forums and see all the woke comments, because it's probably worse than it was on Twitter. But of course, make sure to go help the guy struggling to get that kill 30 enemies achievement. And with that being said, we have finally come to the end of this video, so with all that being said, please do not forget to do all the things YouTubers love to beg you to do, aka check out the Discord server, the Twitter, as well as like, comment and subscribe. So I'll see you all in the next video.